Hey guys, for today's video, I want to talk to you about an incredibly important topic that's going to make your whole life better, and that is how to practice self-love. Now, self-love is huge. It's one of those things that will impact a ton of aspects of your life, and in the end will just make your whole life a lot better. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump into 3 tips that will help you practice self-love in your own life. So number 1, you need to know who you are. So for this one, what I've done in the past is you meditate on the question of who am I? And you want to be as truthful and as honest as you can while answering this. And what I like to do is just name off personality traits and characteristics, skills, that sort of thing. You can even kind of go into how other people would describe you. But the most important thing is that you're truthful. So you don't want to lie about who you are. You don't want to say that you have qualities that you don't. For instance, I remember when I first started meditating on this, I at first would say that I was confident, but I actually wasn't at the time. And eventually I realized that, and that lying to myself was only hurting me, so I stopped doing it. But now, when I meditate on this, I can say that and mean it. So you want to be truthful. But the most important thing here is just figuring out who you are as a person. What makes you, you. And when you know that, it'll make it a lot easier for you to practice self-love, because you'll know yourself well, and you'll then know how to handle other people talking about you and their opinions of you. Because when you really know yourself, it's a lot easier for you to weather other people's opinions and judgments of you. You'll just brush them off because you know yourself really well. So one, you'll know when people are telling the lies about you, but 2, you won't really care because you'll start to value your own opinion of yourself more than anybody else's. So that's the first step. Now for step number 2, you need to treat yourself better. So this means don't be as hard on yourself. You don't want to beat yourself up. And I've actually made a video on this in the past, but the gist of it is you basically want to reframe your thoughts. You don't want to be your own worst enemy. You want to, in a way, be your own cheerleader. You want to treat yourself better up here. So you want to get rid of all those negative thoughts that you have about yourself on a daily basis. You want to notice them in the first place, and then if you can, just ignore them. Just let them float on by like a leaf in the wind. Just let it float on by. Don't even acknowledge it. And that's one of the things you can do. And then what I like to do on top of that is reframe my thoughts. So if I have a negative thought about myself where I think something like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that, or what does that person think of me after I made a fool of myself? Instead, I'll reframe and I'll think of something positive about myself, or just a positive thing in general. So you kind of want to think about, 1, being aware of when you're beating yourself up, because you can't stop a habit that you're not aware of. So that awareness is key. But then 2, just think about kind of shifting from negative to positive. So whenever you find yourself thinking something negative, replace it with something positive. And over time, that will make you pretty much be your own cheerleader in life. So that's step number 2. And for step number 3, you basically want to learn to become your own best friend. Now this is one of my favorite ones, but you pretty much need to do the other 2 steps in order to get here. But becoming your own best friend is quite literally what it sounds like. How do you treat your best friends? Well, start treating yourself the way that you treat them. Plan times to hang out with yourself where you literally are just going to be in your own company doing something you enjoy. And talk to yourself in your head the way that you would talk to a best friend. So if a best friend has a job interview coming up, what are you going to say to them? You're going to uplift them. You're going to kind of give them like a pep talk or a motivational speech to help them kill their interview. You're going to tell them, hey, you're going to do an awesome job on that interview because you're an awesome candidate for the position. That's the way you want to talk to yourself and the way you want to treat yourself. You want to be your own best friend. And you can quite literally take yourself out on dates and I mean, I've literally gone for solo hikes in my own company just because I enjoy going for hikes. So if I can't find somebody who will go on one with me, I'm going to go on one on my own because I enjoy it. Or you can go to the movies on your own. You can go to concerts on your own. You can go to a restaurant on your own. You can cook yourself an amazing meal. There are so many things you can do to practice being your own best friend. But basically the main point is tying into the last step, step number 2. You just want to end up treating yourself a whole lot better. And when you treat yourself like you would one of your own best friends, and you become your own best friend over time, you're pretty much going to be treating yourself a whole lot better. And with that, your whole life will get better. So that's a huge aspect of self-love, is basically learning to become your own best friend. I mean, think about it like this. You're going to go through 100% of your life in your own company, right? So why the hell would you not treat yourself better? I mean, think about that. There have been so many times in my life where I feel depressed or beat down, or I just have something really tough that I'm struggling with, and I give myself a pep talk, either in my head, or there have been times where I literally drive somewhere at night that with a great view, and I just start talking to myself and kind of giving myself a pep talk about where I'm at and who I am and how I can handle the situation. And think about that. You're going to be going through 100% of your life in your own company. So why not be your own best friend? You're going to be with you the whole way through. Quite literally, with yourself. So why would you not want to be your own best friend and treat yourself better? You see where I'm going? That's why self-love is so important. Because it's important that you have your own back all throughout life. Because you're always going to be with yourself. So, there you go. That's why self-love is so important. So just to summarize the steps, it's number 1, you need to know who you are. Number 2, you need to start treating yourself better with your thoughts primarily. And then number 3 is learning to become your own best friend. And there are a few more aspects I can get into in a future video, and I'll probably do that. But for now, those 3 steps are pretty much the main ones that are going to help you start developing self-love more in your life. So I hope you put these into practice, and I hope you watch your life change for the better. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Arrivederci.